Hello, I decided rather than doing a screenshot, I'd load up a video. Forgive my voice, I'm recovering a little bit from a cold here, but I thought I'd get it up and show you what it was doing here. So, when you start seeing you've got a cube, you're in object mode, that is the object. So here's the object data there. Underneath that is the mesh data. This is what you will manipulate here. If you manipulate it in the object mode, because when you go into the mesh it automatically goes into the object mode, it only applies it to what you physically see. It doesn't actually apply it to the mesh. So it's not actually physically that size, it's just what it looks like. To explain a bit better, if we go back into object mode here and we add another cube, mesh cube, we have two objects, as you can see up here. We have two separate mesh datas. Now you can snap like this and turn on this. This is a separate option in 2.79, so I wouldn't worry about it, because unless you're using 2.79 it'll be exactly the same. So it will snap in object mode like that. But if you go into edit mode, it won't merge or anything because there's no merge option. But if you go into edit mode and turn the merge option on, it still won't merge. And this is because they're separate objects. I can't edit that mesh data because it's under a separate object. So to do this, we'd want to either join them. So we select one, and whichever one we want as a primary. In this case, I want the named cube primary. And we use Control and J, or you can go into the menu. I forget the menu icon at the moment. I think it's under Object. There we go, Join, Control J. So you join it, it becomes one object with one mesh data, and it's there. As you can see, if you go into edit mode, it's still two separate cubes in the mesh data, and you can manipulate it independently like this, but it is joined. So if we start a new file, new, for some reason my Control and N shortcut isn't actually working. So that's what you'd want to do there. If you go into edit mode and add another cube, it doesn't actually have to go through a object menu, because you're just adding the mesh to the existing object. So if I go ahead and do that, where's the extra cube? Because there isn't one. You've only added the mesh data to this. So although it's here, as you can see, it's only a mesh. The object data is everything under it, which is all of the mesh. Even though they're separate meshes, they are still under the same object. So what we do here is, when we turn on the snapping, you've got the increment, there's the merge vertices, and you can just snap it together. And when you look at the top there, where the edges and faces are next to Blender Render, the numbers will change when I let go of the button. I'm currently holding the left mouse button in to show you, but it'll merge. And if you go into object mode and move it, it is now still one object. It will move as an object. You go into edit mode and you can select the whole object and still alter it here. It's just a case of depending on what you're doing for what purpose. Now, I said I'd show you another example with metaballs. Now, these are different. These actually merge themselves. So if we go to new, you'll cover this in the fluffy bunny. If I get rid of that, don't want that. Okay? So, if you add a metaball, there we go, and it would do that in object mode, which is okay. Mesh, another one. If we want to go into another metaball and add another metaball, it produces two metaballs up in the hierarchy here, as you can see. But they are merging because that's what metaballs do. Now, say I only wanted one metaball. What would I do then? I'd normally join it. But there's a slight issue with that. If I go to the object, you can't join them. So the only way to do it with metaballs is, if I remove one metaball, delete that metaball, we've only got one, and I go into edit mode on that metaball, always make sure you select the object before trying to go into edit mode, otherwise it won't do it. And then I add the mesh. Let's add a capsule, just for showing purposes. Now, they are one object, and they still have the same operation. So you see, sometimes operations won't work properly when you're in the wrong mode. We'll cover the reasons to apply transforms, locations and scale later on. It'll be more covered in depth in the animation sections, because that's where it's going to really affect everything. So I hope this has helped you understand object mode versus edit mode. And if you have any questions, just pop it in the Q&A after this.